Welcome back to the Trifecta Airsoft Podcast. I'm your host, Evike. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button if you haven't already so you never miss another podcast. Also, do me a favor. Go on to whatever podcast app you listen to us on and give us a rating and review. That really helps us rank in the searches. Thank you so much. Let's get into the podcast.
It was there's Temple Airsoft was a big field at the time. There's still a big field.
Okay.
Dave DeMauro runs that field. He's a vet and he's kind of eccentric. He's of a particular taste. We'll just put it that way. Like you have to be in a certain mindset to just be around him and not get kind of like agitated. But I think he's okay. I think he's okay.
Now, what part of Texas? Because I've had a handful of people on from Texas. I'm trying to think. Black Wolf Videos, the guys from.
So those guys I think are up in Dallas Fort Worth.
Yeah, that's right.
And that area is rife. There are 3 big fields. There's Game. I think it's called Game Pod. I'm not sure what it is. It's a newer one. Then you had 878, and then you had D14.
D14, 878, yeah. Yeah, that's right. Honey Badger. Okay.
Both of those fields are phenomenal fields to play on. Like,
that's
awesome. The D14, they don't have it anymore, but they used to have like this. They had this mosque kind of set up, like looked like a castle on like this hill.
Oh, cool.
And you would do games where you would have to go take that and like you go from crossing open ground to then doing close quarter stuff, and it's. But the field, the way they have it set up now is awesome. 878's awesome, and it's huge. And then the new place is actually pretty good. The grounds are manicured, so it's like nice.
Mm-hmm.
We got the Evike Outpost, and they have a new indoor place that's good. That's
right.
big, but that's over towards Houston.
Well, that's actually when I had call sign Honey Badger on. Was right after he went to that grand opening for the e-bike thing or whatever.
Yeah. That was actually pretty good. So the way I put it is, as far as Texas goes, I put it like this: Evike runs the East Coast, Airsoft GI runs the West Coast, and then everybody from Austin down is like the dirty south of it. So,
nice.
So yeah.
Okay.
So
I can't tell you how many people I've had on here that are military vets, combat vets, and every single one of them have said the same thing you say, how Airsoft has helped them with that, acclimate to civilian life, and get away from that just the bad thinking and all the bullshit.
Because you get the positive stuff. You get the positive outcomes of the training regiment you go to, and then you get the positive of you get camaraderie and stuff like that. Like I think I've been on, let's see, Steel Legion, Shadow Race, Renegades. I've been on 3 airsoft teams, all with other vets and stuff like that. The first one I was on was with some firefighters and stuff like that. So you get the camaraderie because you get to hang out with your people, and then it's like when you get companies like Third Coast, you get companies like American Milsim, and then Milsim West came down to Texas once. Jet Desert Fox did a video on it, and I wanted them to come back, and they never did. But the closest they got was there's a spot in Oklahoma that's like 2 hours north of Dallas that they do ops in, and I'm gonna go to one of those. I just have to plan it out properly.
Gotcha.
But when you have big companies come down, just like start doing stuff down here and stuff, it's cool because then you're like, all right, cool. So I don't have to deal with the like the first field I found when I got down here was Mission Airsoft here in San Antonio, and I met Scott Hollenbeck and a bunch of other people there,
Yeah.
and it's a mom and pop field, but it's a great environment,
Hmm.
especially if you want to play and stuff like that, and then you venture out to other places and stuff like that. And now we have
Isn't
Awaken.
he from there?
Yeah,
Or isn't that his area? Scott.
Scott
It's
Scott
U.S.
Scott was
Airsoft, right?
yeah, Scott was originally in San Antonio. Then he got
Okay.
big. He got YouTube famous, and he moved out to Dallas. And rumor has it he's moving back, which is cool
Okay.
because he does something that I kind of wanted to do, but I didn't put any effort or time into doing, which
Yeah.
is the video in game playing, the actual review on guns and stuff like that. Like I wanted to do reviews on guns and stuff like that too, because I'm like, you get out of the military and that disposable income kind of goes away, and then it's like you're doing stuff on a budget. Like Matt from
Right.
Evike sold me my first arsenal, and I
Really.
literally, because I went down to Evike, I went down to Evike, and I bought like 7 guns, mags, like all sorts of like I bulk bought it because I had money
Yeah.
to do it. And then this is coming off of my first gun was again that big 5 Tommy gun,
Uh
and
huh.
I kept that, and I was like, cool. Well, I can go get magazines for it and stuff like that. And then I got down there, and I was like, ooh, M4s. I want M4s, and ooh, there's a saw. I want a saw. And then I went kind of crazy, and I really shouldn't have. Like I should have saved that money. I should have been a responsible adult, and I was not. I was not. And
Well, one of
that,
the somebody I've had on here, we're pretty close friends. He says when I had him on here the first time, and he said something about the you know getting other people. He's always talking about the community, and yeah, I'm all about getting all these new people in here and into the hobby and stuff. And I was like, yeah, man, that sounds cool. He's like, yeah, I want them to be as broke as me. Okay. Oh yeah, it's funny, man.
it's true though. But
Right.
no, but that's like when like with what but so Scott would do reviews on stuff, and then it's like, cause
Yeah.
so Scott did reviews on when he started out. Scott's just a kid. He's not getting access to, like, they're not sending him guns or anything like that. Like all the stuff that he's doing is his stuff and everything else.
Sure.
He used to love Scout the doggy, so he used to try and mimic his videos kind of like that.
Yeah.
So we as the community down here would be the ones that would be like, oh, well, look at this, and this is brand new, and this, that, and the other. And I used to be on this kick, man, where I'm like, look, if you're paying $300 and $400 for an airsoft gun and you're a beginner, like, you don't have to do all that. You can be comparable with minor teching and getting you, like, like beginner and mid tier things. So like when the Lancer Gen 2s came out, I was a huge Lancer fan.
Uh huh.
I've always been a fanboy of SEMA.
Yeah. Okay.
So like when I recommend beginning guns for people, I always recommend them like get you a SEMA or get you a Lancer, especially the Gen 2 and Gen 3s because they're
Yeah.
really good guns and stuff like that. I wanted to check out the Specna arms, and it was never in stock.
Mm.
And then now it's in stock and stuff like that, and everybody's got them. So I'm like, all right, somebody else will tell them to take a look at it and stuff like that. But like you get people trying to buy like ICSs and stuff like that, and I'm like, they're great guns, they're good guns and
Hmm.
stuff like that. But like you can get, and then I also learned the thing about the whole resell, like buy sell trade portion of the stuff, where it's like people are insane. They'll buy like a four
Yeah.
hundred dollar gun, and then they'll go ahead and put like $200 worth of stuff in it. It doesn't really work the way they want it to, or whatever. And then they're like, "Well, I could sell it for the value that it was at," and I'm like, "That gun's not worth that." Like,
Uh. You
Like
messed
I'm
it
not
up.
just well, it's like I'm not gonna pay above retail for a used anything.
Exactly.
Like so it's like so you need to come down for that. And then it's like you're trying to tell me all these parts are in it. Well, it's fine. I learned early on that just because you buy high end parts doesn't mean that they work in the gun that you put them in.
Yeah,
Because
dude.
alignment, shimming, all that stuff matters. And you can use you can still use stock stuff if you shim it properly. It's golden and things like that. So I've always been a proponent of that. But
Yep.
then I got into recoil stuff, and now
Okay.
I'm living outside of my means. Like I got the bolt, I got the bolt here. I love this system, the
What
B
is this now?
the BRSS system. So this is
Yeah.
Bolt
It's an electric
Airsoft.
blowback?
It's an electric blowback, but it's not it's actual recoil in
Because
it.
oh,
So
is that one that has like a weight
yeah,
in the bolt? Okay. Now, do you find that it's got to wear the battery out a little quicker, right?
no, actually, and then
Really?
the best part about it is you run a lipo on it.
What 11.1?
I run an 11.1 Titan.
Uh-huh. That's
I
what we
run 11.
used most
Yeah.
of. Yeah.
So Titan batteries pretty much hold their charges nicely and everything else and stuff like that.
Right.
So that's been good. But basically,
That gun looks awesome, man. You got it decked out.
yeah, that's the other thing. It's like 10% the gun and then 70% looking cool. But then
Of
you get
course.
it, and then the weight blows back and everything else and stuff like that. I've seen people. Jet Desert Fox did a review of this exact gun,
Okay.
and he was kind of he liked it, but he was talking about some things that are basic maintenance problems. It's like it
Mm.
recoils, so it shakes.
Yep.
So if it can come loose, it's going to come loose. You just got to tighten it down.
Mm-hmm.
But that just means you have to do maintenance on your guns, which means you got to look at it and go, okay, this is loose. Let me tighten it up, or make sure that these parts that are moving are lubed and everything else and stuff like that. Like it's not rocket science. It's like
That's
all stuff that you would have to deal with it anyway.
I think that's one of the big differences I've noticed with people I've had on here, where the military veterans, they're used to cleaning their weapon. So almost every military veteran I talk to on here make a comment like that, like, hey, it's basic, maintenance. Like you have to maintain like you have to clean it like a real gun, or pretend, at least, hey, take care of this thing after you play with it. So and most airsofters that, especially if they're in their first couple years of playing, that are just just went into airsoft, like they don't take care of their stuff, man. And they talk about, oh, this gun's crap, it fell apart, and then and it's so funny because other people are like, no, they fall apart because these guys don't take care of them. Okay. They don't know how to do it.
I think like Leah's doing it right now with the airsoft mom thing. But basically, it's like people don't know. Uh, so that's the other thing about the sport too. Like people forget that there are kids in this.
Uh-huh. Yep.
There are kids. This is it's like yeah, we're a bunch of grown ups going and playing pretend war in the forest, but like this is kind of for kids too. So
For sure.
so it's like you got to show them what stuff is. You can't expect them to just be. You can't expect them to just know. You got to show them and everything else. But
Hmm.
Leah's doing that. But basic things like you said. We clean the weapons. We do everything else because we treat them like we would treat regular weapons.
Hmm.
But like the standard kid on the street's not going to know that. All he's going to know
No.
is I got this thing and it's doing what it's doing, and then all of a sudden it's not doing what it's doing, and I don't know how to make it do it anymore. It's like just got to take it apart and clean it. Well, how do I take it apart? Like a lot of people don't know. Like there's a lot of people in airsoft that have been in airsoft for years don't know how to take down their weapons,
No.
and it's like
Well,
it's
they probably a majority of them know how to take a gearbox apart. They don't know how to put it back together right. Okay,
oh
that's their
oh
problem. There's
oh
so many
there's
people
that.
that are like, they get a new gun, brand new, first day. They already bought, when they get the gun, they get their upgrade parts. Not just the barrel. The barrel's easy, okay? The inner barrel, that's fine. I'm talking about like whatever stuff inside. They got to pull the gearbox apart, and then they can't, and it's totally messed up. And then they go, "Oh, this gun was shit." And I'm like, "No, no, it was fine until you pull it apart." Like, dude,
Operator error, kid. That's operator error.
bro, it's crazy. These guys did the same thing. So the way this channel started, we did mystery boxes and reviews. So the first 2 years of our channel, actually 2.5 or whatever of our channel, we did mystery boxes and reviews, and that's all we did. And then I worked on all their guns. So my boys, two of my boys, and then their friend went and played airsoft, and that's kind of how. And I was like, oh, let me start this YouTube channel and film it, whatever. So they're like, okay. So I started the channel, and then they would bring. I had a whole workshop set up in here. Like there's a pegboard back here behind the camera. I have guns hanging up there. Well, this whole wall that's all these sound deafening pads, that was all pegboard as well. And I had a workshop in here with this workbench. So I had my tools up here because I used to work maintenance on factory machines, extrusion and stuff like that. So I was like, yeah, they're, oh, something's broke. Let me see. Let me look at it. They're like, well, you don't know. I'm like, bro, I worked on machines most of my life. Come on, let me see. So first gearbox I take apart. I don't look at a video. I know what the fuck I'm doing, okay? Like, I know how to take this shit apart. Like, there's a bunch of screws. So what? Bing! I said, oh shit. Oh no, I can't find the springs. So, anyway, it was fun. It was a fun learning process.
Yeah, that goes into the whole being old in airsoft too. Because I remember back when you used to have to do like they now have the like quick change. Like almost everybody's got quick change for gearboxes.
Thank God for that.
And I'm
And then
just
the
like,
ICS, when I first saw the split gearbox, I was like, whoa!
so you might remember these, and I'm looking for one. I know I'm not gonna find one within any kind of price range where I want to pay it, but the old school Wii katanas.
No,
When
huh?
WeTech
Yeah.
had an AEG split gearbox, and what they did was they had the different colors. They had a gray one. They had a gray upper, like a gray upper gearbox, a blue upper gearbox, and then like a red upper gearbox. And it was set for CQB, field, and then like specialty stuff.
No way.
Yes,
That's
and
cool.
I looked at it and I'm like, well, I'll get one. I'll get one at some point, or I'll get one. And then all of a sudden they were just discontinued. They'd stopped making them, and I was like, no. And then I never got one. But watching watching those evolve and stuff like that, like there's a lot of stuff that came through. Like when PTS was brand new, and they were the closest thing to like training rifles you could get.
Mm,
So there was
okay.
that. But yeah, but like I used to remember taking apart a gearbox and you had to do the screwdriver trick where you had to slide it into the rear to make sure that the spring didn't pop out when you took the
Uh-huh.
top off of it and stuff like that. Like yeah,
Yep.
so yeah, I'm like it's been a hoot, and then now you got like MOSFETs. MOSFETs used to be like a thing where it was like it broke and then it broke your entire gun unless
Mm,
you bypassed it and then ran a fuse or whatever and stuff like that.
ran a fuse, right?
And now it's like the standard, and
Yeah.
they're awesome, and they work well and stuff like that. Like
And
I'm
they're
still
programmable. Like all these different, the electronic trigger board and all that kind of shit now.
Bluetooth to your phone. Like
Let me check my here, hold on. Let's check the bios on this thing, okay?
so it's been awesome. Like
Yeah.
it'd be one thing like when you used to lock up a gearbox, you had to take that thing apart, and now you can just take it over to your phone and be like unlock, and then
That's so wild. Yeah, well, that was the first thing I noticed when we got the first gun that had a quick change spring. Was this is very early in our channel, so I didn't know anything about airsoft until we started our channel. So I learned by working on them, and then we'd go out. We do a mystery box, and then we do take those guns or whatever and do reviews on them. So I get to handle a lot of these different style of guns, whatever. Because there's four of us on our channel, or there was, and so there's me, two of my sons, and then their good friend. So each of us would get a mystery box, and so we do four unboxings, like all at once. Okay, so that was like, bro,
Watch. I think I've watched some of your old videos because y'all used to do that, like, not green screen, but y'all had like
yep,
some
yep,
background.
yes,
Yeah.
dude. So I was
Okay.
learning. Not only was I learning about airsoft, but I was learning about video editing. And once I saw like the green screen thing, we bought. I made my boys go out. I was still kind of laid up. I was coming out of being sick. I was paralyzed for a little while, and so I couldn't get out of the house and stuff. So I had my boys go out to the store. I'm like, go buy a green sheet, and they're like, what? I'm like, go buy. I want to test this green screen. I was like all excited about it. Like dude, we can do an unboxing. It'll be like a beach on the background. Okay, that'd be fucking awesome. And they're looking at each other going, no, that sounds really dumb. And I said, no, let's do it. So I was trying all different crazy stuff. And then there was times where I couldn't get the monochrome thing set up, or the green screen setting in the editing software set up right. So somebody had worn like a almost green shirt, right? Like t-shirt. And so I'm trying to like, yeah, fix it. And some of our videos, man, early on when I started the green screen stuff turned out horrible. Like the the saturation, the coloring was way out of whack. And I remember one of the videos Johnny did, JP did a review, and he looked almost orange, okay, almost orange, and it was wild. So that was all a learning process when we did all that stuff. But yeah, I started learning all these different guns. They're really fun. Um, my son's got an ARP9 over here that he decked out, and when we started getting some of the G&G stuff, it was I was like, man, these are cool. I mean, we got all kind of crazy guns in the beginning because we had like the Evike, the BOAs. You might have, you'll have two guns in there, and so we have eight guns that we just opened up. I remember I got one of my favorite guns I got was a for my mystery box was a the P90 with the swordfish something attachment thing, okay,
Yeah.
and it was badass. It was badass, and the M4 adapter and checkered front. It was really cool. But so we had a lot of fun starting the channel that way, and then of course I'm learning all these guns, whatever. But there was, before that, and we started channel 4 years ago. Before that, I didn't know anything about airsoft. I knew the clear little pistol springers that I bought my sons when they were like 12. Okay, that was it. Like the typical story, right? And before that, like in the 90s, after the military, I played paintball for 6 years, and so that was it. And then these guys did this, and I'm like, holy cow, they got all these replica guns, man. These are cool as hell. Hell yeah. Now I've been to. So you said Third Coast Airsoft. Um, yeah, I went to. So that's actually my son. We live in South Carolina, and Third Coast does Stonebreaker, Iron Dagger.
Viking. Yeah, all the
Yeah,
different at the Guardian Center and stuff.
yeah, the Guardian Center out in Georgia. But we go to the Barnwell. Barnwell, South Carolina is GTI, Government Training
Yes.
Institute. Yep, and that's where Stonebreaker and Iron Dagger. That's where they do. So I've been to Stonebreaker and Iron Dagger 2, and
Hey, have you gotten to
so
meet and talk to Sal?
yeah, yep,
He's awesome people.
really good dude, really good dude. Actually, the last, let's see, I think it was, yeah, Iron Dagger 2 was last year towards the end of September, somewhere October, I can't remember. So maybe November. But anyway, we went. Me and my son went, and I just went as press. And so I got to talk to Sal. up there on GTI, if you ever been there, by the white bus, or where everybody kind of, by the buildings and stuff, everybody congregates, firefights and stuff. So I was talking to him when they first started. Well, then I didn't, we said hey and stuff here and there after, during the weekend, but I called him on the phone like the Monday after the event, because when we first got there, there was kind of they were having issues with their computer system for checking in, for registering. And so it took a really fucking long time, right? So I made this video. So I video when I got there. I like went on live, like on Instagram or something like that. And I'm telling everybody that I was supposed to meet there. Like, hey, we're here. Me and my son, we're over here by the trailer and stuff, where they're selling camis and stuff. And well, then we go through the registration thing. So then I get in there and I'm like, hey, update, we're coming out of we're done with registration. So if you guys want to meet up, we'll be over here by the food truck or whatever. And by the way, so I didn't turn the camera on to say anything negative about the registration, but that's what came out, because I'm like, and by the way, look at this clusterfuck over here. Okay. So I and I'm just talking like, like, dude, what is taking so fucking long? That kind of shit. Right. So, so anyway, that it was like a 30-second whatever blurb, I guess. Well, I don't have a big following, bro. It's not like, my channel's not big. Nobody looks at my shit. And Sal goes, bro, we got like 200 emails about your video, about a registration thing. And I was like, oh shit. So I went in and hurried up and took it down. It's like, I'm so oh yeah.
The thing about them, dude, they pay attention to, like, they pay attention to YouTube. They pay attention to, like, all the, like, they pay attention to who's out doing what. So it's one of those things where it's like you're like, oh, I got a little channel, I'm not doing anything really and stuff like that. Then you go to like a Third Coast Airsoft thing and you say something. Third Coast will respond to you because they're like, well, hey.
When I called him, one of my buddies called me and said, so we were meeting up when I went to Iron Dagger. We were meeting up with like 5 or 6 groups of people that I had on the podcast previously before that event, which was really cool because I thought, I'd seen them on here, like me and you were talking. And then we were going to meet in person at this event. And they were from all over, from Tennessee, from Florida, from Texas, so it was really cool. Well, then so then I talked to Sal, and he's like, listen, man, he's like, I'm not mad. It's no big deal. I just wanted you to know, we really care about, customer service. Like, we really care about what our, creating a good time for everybody at these events. So if there's an issue, you can always just come to me and tell me, like you could have told me that night, hey, the registration thing was messed up, whatever, and I was like, dude, I didn't even think, I wasn't even thinking, bro. It was just like spontaneous when I, and he started, because he's a veteran, he knows, he's, military, and so, I mean, we're good, and I love Sal, and I love their events. It's actually my son's, it's their favorite events to go to is the Third Coast ones. That's what they've been, going to for years, or for 4 years now. But they, yeah, we had a great time. So I went to those two, and then I've been to an indoor field, but I haven't, really been around that much as far as the fields and stuff go. Yeah, yeah. Third Coast, you guys have. What was the first event you did out there with them, or how did you find them?
Operation Starburst. I'm trying to remember if it was 6 or 7. They did it. They did it on a Temple Airsoft.
Okay.
They did it on a Temple Airsoft. I was on a team at the time called Steel Legion.
Okay.
So two funny stories I can tell about that. So we go out to the event. It's my first big event, like big event, anything. I'm like, oh man, dude, there's so many people here. Like, this is gonna be awesome. This is gonna be great. And then I'm looking at all, it's like you start looking at kits and stuff like that. I'm like, oh man, dude, is my gun gonna be any good and stuff like that? And then you get the thing where somebody walks up to you like, "Oh, dude, you have a 6." Because I had a M6, I had a VN60 at the time, an
Okay.
AEK, and you get the dude going, "Oh, you got a 60? That's great. Can I hold it? Can I pick it up and stuff like that?" And, you start kind of feeling like a little big man. You're like, "Yeah, go ahead, yeah, it's cool." So we go out, and this is the team where I was on with some firefighters and stuff like that. So my buddy brought his son out, and within the first firefight, we get kind of like split off. There's like this outcrop of trees. It's not there anymore, but it was like they had the city, then they had like two fields and a road that ran through, and then there was just like this clump of trees, like right between where the city was and the road, and it split the fields. And the enemy spawn point was like up the road on the other side of it. So we were like, well, we'll get in this tree line and we'll hit them in the trees and stuff like that, right? So we do that. We get overwhelmingly overrun, and we end up getting separated and stuff like that, right? So we're falling back. We're falling back to the city and stuff like that. And all of a sudden, my boy comes running out. He's like, somebody come with me, quick! And so I just reloaded. So I'm like, all right, what's going on and stuff like that. And I was like, we can't go. He was running towards the tree line. Like, we can't go in the tree line. They're all over the place and stuff like that. I gotta find my son.
Oh shit.
So he'd been separated from the rest of us. Um, so we go in. I got hit, but then I'm hit. But I stand up, and when I stand up, I see the situation. And then he got hit, but he sees the situation too. So, like in this like it's tall grass in the middle of these trees, and his son is lying there
No
on his
way.
back, and he's surrounded by like enemies, and they're kind of like they're involved in trying to shoot at us and everything else and stuff like that, right? So
Oh my god.
he's walking around. He's like, and the guy's looking at him. He's got his dead rag up. And he's like, I'm just looking for my grenades. And he's like, they're probably over there. And he points out stuff like that. But his son's just laying there, and it was the most gangster thing I'd ever seen. His son is just laying there, and I'm guessing he's out of ammo, and he's just got a thunderbeat on his chest like this, and he's got his finger through the ring, and he's looking like at me and at his dad because we're like we get to see him.
Oh my god.
And he's just sitting there, and then we were just like, I was telling, like, come on, just come out of there. Just come out of not this. I was telling him to get out of the way and stuff like that. So once he walked over to me, I just hear. Like I hear the pin pull and the
Oh
like,
no.
oh my! He pulled the pin, popped it over, killed everybody that was in the immediate vicinity of himself and himself, and then he comes walking back with us to go respawn. He's like, that was so cool,
Right? Oh yeah. I mean, if you're
but
gonna die in a battle in airsoft, that's the way to go right there, buddy.
and then the last battle of the day is I got hit. I get hit in the testicle with
Oof.
a with an
Bro.
up close burst from an HPA MG 42.
Ooh. Shit.
Yeah,
Oh.
everything went everything went white. I passed out, and at the time, Dave had this can. He had this can, and if you sign it, and basically the can just said, "That's not the way this was supposed to go."
Right. Well, what's that? There's that saying too, like everyone's got a plan until first contact, right?
Yeah,
It falls to shit. Yeah,
but yeah, I took that, and I was like, oh man, I don't ever want to be on the other end of an HPA gun again.
bro. Yeah.
And then that was early on with HPA, so like the regulators were they didn't have the tournament locks and stuff like that, so people
Oh
could
shit.
go get checked and turn stuff up. Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
But that was my first Third Coast Airsoft event, and that was my first big event. So then I was like, all right, cool. And then Operation Lion's Claw had come down and was doing
Oh yeah.
stuff. So I was doing things between Lion's Claw and Third Coast. Those were the two big ones that were doing stuff down here in Texas.
Yeah.
And then so I was doing those, and then got to go to Fort Hood to the mount site to do
Okay.
to one, and that was after they got in Starburst. Then they started doing Bulldog. Bulldog was Bulldog and Starburst were two events where one was Lion's Claw was Bulldog, and they would raise money for the Marine Corps ball.
Yep.
And then Starburst, they'd raise money. They'd raise money for I think it was the Army. I can't remember. And then they did the next year. They did it for the Marine Corps ball and stuff like that.
Okay.
And they started. So I was out on Boaz and stuff like a lot. So, but the first time out on the mount sites, that was like really cool and stuff like that. Because then I'm sitting there like man, this takes me back.
Yeah. See, I didn't when I started talking with people on here, and a lot of these veterans, military veterans, were talking about. They're saying to me like, the mount site, and I'm like, oh what? I'm like, I don't even know mount. What do you say?
Yeah,
Mount? What do you say?
yeah.
And then they're explaining. It's like no, it's an acronym. It's this and then whatever. It's like all the CQB training we did in the military. I'm like, what you did, bro? I went in '89 and got out in '93. We didn't have. We were still learning. I was issued jungle boots, bro. Okay. We were learning how to make punji sticks, okay? I don't know what this fucking door-to-door shit is.
Yeah,
Oh
so
yeah.
they basically it's the urban environments. They basically built small cities, and then we're just
Right.
like, here's how you go through these and stuff like that.
I've looked them up.
Um,
They look amazing for training sites.
um, for Fort Hood, yes. Camp Shelby, which camp the loss of Camp Shelby as a place to go do airsoft is Lion's Claw's fault,
Oh shit.
and I hate it that it was that way,
Yeah.
but because they used to do everything at Shelby.
Mm.
Milsom West did a bunch of things at Shelby, and you can see old videos from either Swamp Sniper or from Jet Desert Fox because they used to go to those all the time. And
Okay.
I wanted to go. I was originally thinking, okay, when I go to a Milsom West, I'm gonna have to go to that one because I'm not gonna go all the way back to California for it. And then, boom, they did. What did they do out there? I can't remember what the op was, but Lions Claw did an op out there. They did something that they weren't supposed to do, and then they lost the site.
Mm. Okay.
And then that almost happened here at Fort Hood. Fortunately, it didn't happen, so we still have ops and things that go on out there.
Yeah.
American Milton came in. They started doing reindeer games and stuff like that out there.
Oh, I heard of that one. Right. Okay.
So that was good. But basically, Lions Claw faded out. American Milsim got bigger, and then it was there. So right now, the way that I've been doing things is I've been doing the American Milsim ops,
Okay.
and I did 1861, which was out in Colorado,
Oh wow.
and I was not prepared. Like you think
Really?
that you're like, oh cool, I do a little bit, I still work out and everything else. I'm good to go and everything
Yeah.
else and stuff like that. I was not prepared to actually Operation Red Wing it because the way that was set up, you're looking at it and it's like, oh, it's just hill country. It's a mountain.
Oh
You're on
shit.
and you're on the mountain and you're fighting on the mountain,
Oh
and
man.
then you're going from like like 10 degree like a 10-degree slope,
Yeah.
which is like killing your legs because you've been running up and down the ravine and the gorge all day.
Right.
So you basically been like mountain climbing and fighting and then mountain climbing and then you're on this and you're just like, oh, this is a great event. I highly recommend it for everybody that wants to go to something. And it was beautiful. And if you look on my page, you'll see like the little things where I took like pictures of the campsite and everything else. And I think I have a video on there where I was talking about how I was schwacked from the first the first evolution.
Okay.
One of the things that kind of goes hand in hand with all these ops that I ever go to is I end up like I go with my team. We planned on how we're going to stay together and everything else, and for some reason, like I end up by myself. So I always laugh about that. So this was the time when I ended up by myself. So I went back to the fob. I was waiting. I was refitting. I was waiting on my guys to come back so I could actually stay with them.
Yeah.
But great op. So I'm in it for that. I'm going to Copperhead.
Oh,
I wanted
okay.
to go to I wanted to go to Copperhead back on their set when they were doing the second one.
Yeah.
Because I'd seen the videos and stuff like that. I'm like, I want to go to Copperhead so bad. And then so I'm actually
Is
going
that
to
the
get
one at no, wait, not March.
flies
Is
to
that
Mexico.
March Air Force Base?
No,
Where's it at?
no. The one in March Airport. It's not. Is it March? It's either March or Georgia. You're thinking of the Desert Fox events that
Or
they've been
George Air
running.
Force Base. Right, right. Yeah,
Yeah, that they've been
exactly.
running.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Copperhead
I went to
is.
Copperhead's in Playas, New Mexico.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's right. That's right. Okay. Nice.
Um, I did. Lion's Claw did an operation out there like back then. This is back when I was still living in California. Lion's Claw did an operation. It was out there, and then there was this area that was over near where the prison was. It was the neighborhood. It's like a whole neighborhood just over by where Victorville prison is,
Okay.
and they did an operation out there, and those were pretty cool. And that was back when I think Evike did their this is when they were doing their this is airsoft videos where there was actual like music videos and stuff.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Back before the copyright thing came along and
Uh huh.
you couldn't use cool songs to do your stuff anymore.
Right. But you can on Instagram. It's so weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Okay.
I'm guessing they're getting a chunk out of it through like Spotify or whatever. I don't know what they're using, but like
Right.
I I got mad at the whole thing because the thing was like because it stifles the creativity of what you want to do. Like it's like
Right.
okay, I'm gonna do airsoft videos, but I don't want to do the same airsoft videos that like say Scott does because Scott does those and he
Uh
does those
huh.
well. So I want to do this type of video. Well, you have to use original music, or
Uh huh.
you have to use the public domain music and stuff like that. So you can't like make a really cool video or anything like that without it. And then it's like, all right, cool, whatever. And then like what I want to do, and I'll probably do it if I ever actually make the effort to like get real big and trying to do videos. I kind of I have a problem. My recent fixation with airsoft guns and everything else kind of runs the gambit of what did I look at and was nice on either a 9-hole review or on Garantham or or administrative results things. And
Uh huh.
actually, I really want to go to a Milsim West event because I kind of want to run into administrative results because I have a XM 177 that I have done up like an XM the Gordy's gun from Black Hawk Down.
Oh shit. Okay.
So I have one of those, and I
Yeah.
kind of want, and I know he really likes them, so I kind of want to get him to sign it.
Oh, that'd be awesome, man.
Yeah.
Do you follow him on Instagram? He just did that big face reveal. He took his
Yeah.
mask off. I was like,
Yeah.
what?
where he has to assassinate himself. Yeah, that was. And then he's like, well, I'll just take over.
Oh, it's funny,
It's
man.
actually really good. Like I like watching his videos. I really like watching Garantham's videos,
Yeah,
and then I like watching Nine Hole Review.
right.
And so like all of my like, gun obsessions that I wanted to get were like, oh, I need to get another EVR. It's like I've had three of them, and for whatever reason I get rid of them or whatever and stuff like that. And then it's like Grantham has an EVR on his thing. I'm like, oh. And then it's like, dang. But yeah,
I knew I
so
should have kept it.
so I have a lot. So like I wanted to start doing I started wanting to do videos like him, but I also want to do things like Nine Hole Review with the gun. Um, what is it? I think it's ITTV. It's a British guy who does
Yeah, that sounds familiar.
he does reviews of airsoft guns and stuff like that from England. And I wanted to like range test guns, like
Yeah.
legit range test guns, because every like Jet does out of the box reviews, but his basic length is his backyard. Well, these guys used to actually go out to the airsoft field. They'd set up targets at range, and then they test the range of the gun with the different weight BBs and everything else
Hmm.
and stuff like that. And it wasn't so much an accuracy thing as in just a range thing. And then we all know that at some point accuracy is just dumb luck
Right.
when it comes to it, because you're
Yeah,
just
once it gets out so far, then it's just blown in the wind.
yeah.
Hmm.
But I wanted to do videos like that with things, because then I'm like, show people how. Well, here, if you do this with like if you do this with your hop up, and you do this with your gun, and you clean your barrel, or you do this with your barrel, or whatever, you'll get this kind of range and stuff like that.
Uh-huh.
And then do like from stock to actual upgrade.
Mm.
So then people will see the like you can see the difference of like I want to do videos like that, but then I'm like, that's a lot of work, and
Yeah.
you know I have a 9 to 5.
We did when we would do reviews, we did like the sniper rifles we get. We got an Echo 1 and we and a couple other ones, but we would do similar type of tests, so we would do 100 feet, 150 and 200 with a spring rifle, just bare bones out of the box. And then three different BB weights. So like the most common that snipers would use or whatever. And so we do stuff like that. And but most of the ones, we would just do the rate of fire with a different kind of battery. Like if it had a MOSFET, we do the 9.6, and then we do the 11.1 or a 7.4, and see the whatever the difference. We have a chrono and stuff, so we test that, and then we'd set up targets and shoot them from like 50 feet. From some of these smaller guns or whatever, like the ARP9 or some of the SMGs we got. And so we do real basic reviews on it, and then we start getting into like doing history of the gun, of the real steel gun. So like my son did. I was like, hey, let's start doing like a backstory on where this gun comes from, because it's iconic. Like we got a 50 cal, right, from a 6 millimeter, and so we did stuff like that. It was cool. It was really fun. I miss doing those, to be honest. So we stopped doing all that stuff because my sons got busy. We all got busy. My one son got married. They bought a house. My other son bought a house. JP has a little, his son, and so it's very hard for us to get together and do stuff anymore. And then I started working, once I got better, and so it was very difficult to do these things. Well, then the podcast kind of came up spontaneously as I was talking with people, just at random through Discord. If they had, like early on, if they had a question about their gun or something or a gearbox, they would start asking in the chat, and I'm like, hey, just call me real quick. Let's get into the voice channel and tell me what's going on, and I'll walk you through it. And then it turned into a video because I'm like, well, show me what I don't know what you're talking about. Show me. So,
Let me see it. So
turn your phone on. Let me see. So it kind of turned into that, and then as we're working on that thing or whatever it was, we're just bullshitting, and then it leads to them telling me about their weekend that they went and played, and I'm going, dude, I'm gonna start recording these, and literally that's how these podcasts started. So then I enjoyed it so much that I started reaching out to people. So now I love hearing everybody's story, where they came from, how they got into airsoft, what their gear. Like I said in our chat, it's it's kind of like a show and tell if you want to show stuff off or whatever, when people do that. So I've had people on where they do the whole podcast is like a gun show. So one of the guys I had on that's up in Pennsylvania, NEPA Airsoft, he runs he runs NEPA Airsoft. His name's Don. He's been playing airsoft since like the mid '90s. So he's got, or he used to have like 50 plus guns, maybe more, way more, and not once an M4. So because he always wanted to be original, he was like, no, I'm not getting an M4 because everyone has them. So it's very, very, it's changed a lot. Our channel has, and then, but the podcasts, they're just, hey, we're just BSing about, what you're doing and what you're going to next. So, but yeah, man, what do you got? What do you got planned for the rest of the year? What are you looking forward to? What big event you looking forward to?
Overhead coming up. That's going to be September, and then after that, pretty much the season dies out. I kind of want to do reindeer games just to go back up to hood again. And then after that, Arsenal just happened for American Milsim. They just did Swedish Viking. So my thing is, I want to try and get out to some of the some of the Grail places that I want to go to. I want to go out to Ballahack. So I'm trying to wait till there's a big op going on out there. And it's not because I want to be involved in the big op or anything. It's just because you're gonna go out to you're gonna go out to the field. You might as well go out for something big, because you're doing all the traveling and stuff like that. I got to go back to California because I want to go back to where I started, which was Code Red. Code Red Airsoft is the first airsoft field I played at. So
I've talked to so many people that have played out there. Okay.
They'll always have a place in my heart, and I know everybody they'll be like, oh yeah, you're gonna go. Well, I'm gonna go out to SC Village and everything else and stuff like that. And I'm like, SC Village is it's dope, but Code Red's where that's where I was birthed. So,
gotcha. Yeah. Now, what about? Have you been to the Hollywood Sports one out there?
Yes, I've been to Hollywood Sports. So I hit a lot of places out there. There was a field that used to be called Warped Airsoft. It's got a different name now, but Warped, Hollywood. There was a place Elsinore, which was something else, and yeah. And then SC Village, Hollywood, SC Village, and then I didn't get to go to Tax City.
Okay.
But then my thing was nothing I had was rated for indoor. Like everything I had shot over 350. So except for my pistols. And then I was like, okay. And then I was like, I can go and just play pistols. And I was like, I don't want to do
that. Right. Hell yeah, man.
And I have a thing with that too. Like, so as far as pistols go, all of my pistols are CO2.
Gotcha.
Because I came up in the old days. So I came up in the old days of the green gas leaker, where it's like you fill it up for 10 minutes full of green gas and stuff like that, and you let it sit on your hip for a little bit, and then you go to use it,
and then you just hear the kss, and you're like, oh. And I was like, nah, I want a gun that's reliable. So I've never gone back from CO2, and I'm mad because I I want a SIG 226.
Oh yeah, we had one. We did a review on it.
KJW made one that had a CO2 magazine in it, and the only problem with it was it shot hot.
Right.
So Sig, Sig Main, the actual Sig Sauer company, took over and said, we're going to put out our own Proforce stuff. And so I was like, cool. Bring back the 226 and give me a CO2 magazine that, shoots under. Well, they have one, but the way that it's sold with the green gas magazine, and then you can get 2 CO2 magazines in the package. But I'm like, I just want 3 CO2 magazines.
Mm-hmm.
And then I can't find the CO2 magazine just by itself. So there's that.
Right.
But I'm like, I see all these guns, and I'm like, oh, they're good guns, and they'd be great. And I'm just like, I don't want to use any of them because they're green gas. The NS2 and the NS3 and the next gen, all the stuff that they've been doing, great developments and stuff like that. But I still remember those days of having to pull my pistol and getting the big hiss, and I'm never like I can't get over that.
Oh, dude, when we started reviewing these pistols, and we fill them up, and I'm going, what the hell? Like, it won't shoot half the mag. So it would be, I think when we started having issues was like November-ish, right? So it was maybe like 50 degrees out.
Yeah,
I mean, 50 is not that cold, okay? I mean, growing up in Cleveland, Ohio, 50 is not cold. And by the way, I spent, a month and a half in North Korea. When I was in Japan, went to North Korea actually, that was the 2 times I was on a ship. I was on the USS St. Louis and the USS Dubuque, that we nicknamed the Dubuque because it was a flat bottom, I guess, cargo ship. And bro, we all got seasick. And all you Navy boys were laughing their asses off at us. We're all green and shit, bro. So we started shooting this stuff. By the way, South Korea in the wintertime is cold as fuck, okay? Yes. So we're shooting these green gas out here in the back, and I'm like, why won't this thing like finish a full mag? They're like, oh, I'm like, did we not fill it up right? And because I didn't know anything, they're teaching me, and they're like, no, it's getting cold. Do you see the frost on this thing? And they take the mag out. I'm like, Jesus, how long's airsoft been around? I'm going, what? Nobody could figure out this problem yet? Like, what the hell? So
they did.
Yeah,
they did, and that's where the CO2.
CO2.
They were like, well, this will work. I mean, you still get a cool down effect and everything else and stuff like that, but it's not as bad as with green gas. And then it's like, what I didn't know, I didn't understand why they didn't do this. And Novridge is probably the only person to do this. And I know people like want to say bad stuff about him as far as like, oh, well, he's a kid, you're kind of breaking down his boy. Nah, look, the dude's filling the niche where people need stuff. People want to snipe.
I haven't really heard too much bad stuff about him, to be honest.
Well, it's early on when he started selling it. Like, so he used to make full drop-in kits.
Okay.
For sniper rifles, so that you could tune up your rifle the way he did it. Well, then, they cut out the middleman and started making their own rifles.
Right.
And then, his business developed from there. But the one thing that he did that nobody's done, and I don't know why nobody bothered to do it, maybe because they just didn't take it serious, was the AEPs. The electric pistols.
Yeah.
Like, there's the greatest...
We got one. I saw one electric pistol.
Yeah, it's like, there's the greatest cure for all of the ailments.
That's true.
I mean, you don't get the realistic blowback and stuff like that, but... It works in all weather,
mm-hmm.
and you know, it as long as it has a hop up and stuff like that, you're good to go.
Yeah, that's true. We got the
But
one AEP like that, and it was I think it was an H&K licensed one, and we pulled it out, and I'm looking for and it was way lighter than the regular pistols with the gas mags, and I'm going, what is up with this thing, and but yeah, when we found, I was like, oh, it's an electric pistol, it's cool, it's the first one we got, and we tried it out. It was cool, man. It was like, way different, way different. But see, I like the non blowback stuff for the pistols. My boys, they hated it. They wanted the realistic kind of blowback stuff. But we got a Mac 11, really cheap, really cheap. Just one of those, like, in one of the mystery boxes, it was like the extra gun, and it was used, or like returned or something, whatever, they like refurbished. It looked fine, but it was really light, really, just very basic plastic. But it was a CO2 gun. Okay,
Yes.
so we pull it out and we go to test it. Now, this is the first CO2 one that we had. I didn't know that the first few shots were going to be hot. So we put it up on the chrono, bink, 520 or something like that FPS with point two. I'm like, holy shit!
And then it calms all the way down. Yeah.
And it calmed all the way down to like 370 or whatever it was. But yeah, it's crazy. Okay. James, it's been great talking with you, man. I appreciate you taking the time to get on here and hearing your story.
absolutely, I think what you're doing is awesome.
Thanks, dude.
I think this is good for the community and stuff like that. So
Yeah,
get
that's
gets
what I try to
awareness
do.
out, brings people together, and helps it grow.
Bring,
So yeah,
yeah, man. Let people kind of. This is like the whole part of the community is connecting everyone. Hell yeah, buddy. Well, man. So tell everybody where they can find all your airsoft stuff online.
find me at Dark Arts Airsoft on Instagram. YouTube channel is coming. Like I said, I have a 9 to 5, so it's
Yeah.
one of those things where I'm trying to like
Figure
dedicate to
out.
it. But
Yeah.
no, but probably what I'll end up doing on that though is I'll end up doing like range testing and then stuff like that. It'll look almost like 9 hole reviews, way they do guns. So it'll be like that, and then like brief history. But it won't be brief history of like the gun itself. It'll be brief history of like the company that made the airsoft gun.
Oh, that's cool.
So I want
Okay.
to because I wanted to be airsoft related because I know that they got the
Yeah.
anti 2A stuff going on where they're punishing people for doing gun stuff, and I'm like, if you
So weird.
educate, things will get better. But okay, but
Yeah.
you can find,
Right.
yeah, they can find me there. And
Okay.
then if you're down in Texas, if you're down in San Antonio, come by Mission Airsoft. If you want to do some see the indoor stuff, Awaken just opened, and that was those guys did something that I had waxed poetic about driving up to Austin, which is, hey, you see all these warehouses that are along the highway? What if you just bought a whole warehouse and just put a field inside of it? And they did that, and they do a whole bunch of stuff there. So they do LARPing,
Oh,
they
cool.
do LARPing, airsoft, do the soft archery stuff.
Oh,
So
yeah. Oh, yeah.
it's
Yeah.
like that. So they do that. So that's
I've
fun. So
seen
you
the
do that.
right. I just saw a video on that stuff. Okay.
Um, Also check out Texas Paintball. Best airsoft fields. One of the best airsoft fields here. Then of course you got Dallas and Fort Worth, and then you got Houston. You got the Evike Outpost in Houston. But
Right.
it's pretty big. It's pretty big down here in Texas. I'm glad that it's spread out. I'm glad that it's along the East Coast and everywhere else too. Because
Oh, yeah.
again, when I first got here, I thought I was never going to play airsoft again, and then it's like all of these places. So yeah, but
Awesome.
yeah, you can find me at any of those places. I'm going to be posting a lot more on Instagram here,
Good.
and yeah,
Oh, yeah, man.
I'm gonna do a whole trip journey and everything else when I go to Copperhead because we're going to be driving out there.
Yeah, I was gonna say, and I always like to have people on a second time, like after they've gone to another, an event they were talking about or whatever. So I'll hit you up after Copperhead, and We'll have to set another one of these up.
Absolutely. This has been awesome.
Cool, man. It was great to meet you.
All right.
And from one vet to another, thank you for your service, brother.
Thank you for your service.
All right, man. We'll see you.
All right. Later.